to another edition of Bad Finds. And today we're having a look at Alien 3 for the NES. Yes, another brainchild of LJN. Now, botched licenses have undoubtedly been a recurring theme with LJN, and Alien 3 is no exception. I mean, this game is just plain horrible. Now, before we get into the game, we have to clear up a few things. Alien 3 for the NES is not a sequel to any previous games. It is based, and I use that term very loosely, on a movie of the same name, which was the third movie in the Alien franchise. Now, in the movie, the protagonist, Lieutenant Ellen Ripley, crash lands on a prison planet, which shortly afterwards she is rescued by the prison staff. Meanwhile, a facehugger attaches itself to a dog, which later spawns an alien that goes on a homicidal rampage and picks off the prison population one by one. Ironically, the prison staff doesn't have any weapons to fight the alien, so Ripley and the remaining population devise a plan to destroy the alien by dumping hot lead on it. So, the million-dollar question is, how do you make a game about a bunch of unarmed prisoners being chased by a predatory alien? Well, if you're LJN, you don't. Instead, you make one of the biggest piles of fail to add to your already extensive laundry list of botched licenses. So, what exactly is this pile of fail like? Well, it's quite simple. You play as Lieutenant Ripley, who runs around fully armed with a pulse rifle, grenade launcher, and a flamethrower. The game is broken up into 4 main areas, each containing 2 levels, for a total of 8 levels. At the end of each area, or every other level, you fight a queen. Your objective in the game is to rescue prisoners, usually around 4 to 6 per stage, hidden in various locations throughout the level. And to complicate matters, there is a time limit. If time expires before you rescue all the prisoners, then chest bursters will erupt from within them. Once you rescue everyone, you find the exit and get out. Along the way, you encounter aliens in various forms, from facehuggers to fully grown adults. You can also pick up items like ammo, health kits, and a motion sensor, kind of like in the movie. Okay, fair enough. So when you start playing the game, you immediately notice a problem. The controls are all backwards because most games use the A button to jump. But in true LJN fashion, the designers for Alien 3 picked even the most basic and trivial way to screw things up. What they did was make B the jump button, and for any experienced gamer, you'll know that this will take some getting used to. Secondly, when you run, about 2/3 to 75% of the screen is behind you, which means you really can't see what's in front of you. Now, this presents an obvious problem because these aliens pounce out of nowhere and you have no time to react. Now, you might say, whoa, slow down there, buddy, but no. There's a time limit, and it's annoying trying to constantly run and stop. Furthermore, you can only shoot aliens when they're on the screen, and sometimes there will be an enemy just past the screen, and you know it's there, and you'll shoot, but you're just wasting your ammo. The time limit is another problem because you barely have enough time to get through these levels. Because of this, you really have to plan ahead and map out your route. You essentially have to get a feel for each level, find and memorize the location of each prisoner, and then plan your route in the most time-efficient way possible. To make things even worse, you have only 3 lives to do this with no continues. Time is so tight that you simply can't rescue these prisoners in just any random order, and there really is a more or less specific order in which you can rescue them within the time limit. To make matters worse, the time limit doesn't stop when you rescue all the prisoners. I mean, why? If after time expires, the chest bursters erupt from the prisoners, then why doesn't the timer stop after all of them are rescued? It doesn't make sense. If you find all the prisoners and don't make it to the exit, it just says you ran out of time. So, yeah, you have to save everyone and get out all within the allotted time. Because of this stupid time limit, you'll find yourself taking all kinds of shortcuts that you otherwise wouldn't take. Like normally you would carefully jump down these platforms, but to save time, you'll intentionally fall down and take damage. And yes, you will fall down a lot in this game, and if you fall down the wrong hole or take a wrong turn, then you're in serious jeopardy of running out of time. To make things even worse, before each exit there are these air ducts that you have to crawl through, which are more like rat mazes. and if you take a wrong turn, you're screwed. The elevators have got to be the worst thing I've ever seen in a game like this. These blocks that float up and down automatically constitute the elevators, and on some levels, it's the only means to get around, and in some cases, it goes up several levels. The only problem is you don't have time to sit there and wait for it to come. If you need to go down, you just jump down, and if you need to go up, well, you just better hope that it comes quickly. The boss fights are also a real disappointment. All the queen does is walk back and forth, spitting acid, and the only strategy you need is to camp in the corner and unload when you see her on the screen. It's a complete joke. You'd expect some kind of big badass final boss fight at the end, but no. What you get at the end of the 8th level is the same exact thing you get at the end of the 2nd level. When you finally beat the game, you're treated to an ending with a silhouette of Ripley holding a gun with words explaining how she turns back one last time as she's leaving planet Fury 161, telling herself it's done and that she's wiped out the aliens. I mean, are you kidding me? Did these idiots even watch the movie? In the movie, she kills herself by jumping into a fire while a chest burster erupts from within. This game's ending is about as accurate as Splinter turning into a human. You know, I'm not sure where they got off calling this game Alien 3. They should have just called it Alien, or better yet, Aliens, since with all the running around and shooting, it's much closer to the second movie. But what's done is done, and at the end of the day we have yet another terrible cash-in from LJN. That's all I have to say, and this is the end, signing off.